Welcome back, everybody. So today I'm going to be making picadillo tacos and homemade salsa. I have done several videos through the course of the 5 years I've been on YouTube for salsa, picadillo, but the difference today is that I'm making a larger quantity. So I thought I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so for the picadillo, I have probably 1.5 pounds of potatoes that I cubed. I had 4 medium-sized carrots that I chopped and cut into small pieces, 2 large bell peppers, and 1 large onion, and it's all just kind of cut into little pieces. Now I have my pot preheating. I'm going to add some ground beef. I'm going to be using 5 pounds. I don't know if you guys can hear, but it is storming outside. So I'm going to add maybe 3 tablespoons of, you guys always ask, I'm using grapeseed oil, but you could use any cooking oil. Okay, so before I go any further with the meat, I have this on a medium high to high heat setting. I really want to brown the meat the best I can. As you can hear, it's kind of like lowering and sizzle. That's because the temperature of the pan just dropped. So to season this, you can season with salt, pepper, garlic, onion, whatever you like. I'm going to first add beef bouillon powder. You don't have to add that. You can just add salt to taste or to your preference, or seasoning salt, any spices and seasonings. But I'm going to start with, this is actually 6 teaspoons of beef bouillon powder going right in, 5 teaspoons of garlic powder, 5 teaspoons of, oh, I got stuck, onion powder. I have 3 teaspoons of ground cumin. Again, the ratios of these are up to you. I always tell you guys that. I'm also going to use 2 teaspoons of cracked black pepper. Now I'm going to work this in and break down the ground beef as it cooks. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay, so I got a head start on my ground beef. Of course, I always need a bigger pot, but this is what I'm working with today. Now I'm going to add all of my veggies. Try not to make a mess. Okay, so I'm going to saute this and continue cooking everything for about 10 minutes. And by the way, I am working with a high heat, but it will depend on the type of pot you're using, how cold the meat was. It all, you know, there's a lot of variations, but just somewhere between medium, high to high heat to make sure everything gets sauteed and browned without the pan turning cold. Okay, so I have mixed, sauteed everything in the pan. The beef is cooked through, but you want the veggies to get soft and tender. So I have not added any liquid or broth or stock to this. There's enough rendered juices and fat in there to create steam. And I don't want this soupy because it's going on tacos. So I'm going to cover with a lid, just like that. I'm going to lower the heat. I'm going to let this continue cooking at a gentle simmer on a low heat covered for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until my potatoes and carrots have softened. So for the salsa, this is what I'm going to use today. I had to venture out to the grocery store for essentials, and I went to 2 different stores. They had no jalapenos, not even serrano peppers. But I did have already at home some poblano peppers, so I'm going to be roasting 2 medium poblano peppers, half of an onion. Here I have 7 Roma tomatoes, 3 tomatillos. Tomatillos are, they look like green tomatoes, but they have that leafy papery husk that you remove and give a rinse. So that's what I'm using today. Now, to add a little bit more heat into the salsa or spice, I'm adding, I think I have like 6 or 7 chile de árbol. These are spicy with the seeds in. I'm going to leave the seeds in because this is what's going to help give spice to my salsa. I'm going to cook these separately, but for the rest, it's going into a preheated oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit, so probably about 15 minutes or so. And then I'm going to remove it, and I will try to peel as much of the poblano skin because this skin is kind of tough. Actually, I could char these on the stovetop, but I'm going to give it a try with everything else. So into the oven, 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes. Here I have a small pan, my little small stainless steel pan preheating. To that I'm going to add a little bit of oil, not a lot, maybe a half tablespoon. This is not going to cook very long. I don't want it to burn, but I do want it to toast. Then I'm going to add water, let it simmer, shut the heat off, and let it soak and steep for about 20 minutes just to soften. And this is what's going to also go into the salsa. So now that that is already a little char, I'm going to add my water. So I want to show you. I went ahead and flipped my poblano peppers because it started to char, and I added garlic. I added 3 cloves of garlic into the baking sheet for the last 10 minutes. I didn't want the garlic to burn, and I sort of forgot, but it's in there. So you'll also want to add 3 cloves of garlic, but I've got about 10 more minutes of roasting time for this. So before I blend these, I just wanted to show you that I removed the skins from the poblano peppers. I just sort of peeled it off. There's still some on there, but most of it came off. So my poblano peppers are peeled. I peeled all of these Roma tomatoes for the most part. The skins were easy to come off. I also peeled my 3 cloves of garlic. And the tomatillos, I feel you probably just want to leave the skin on, because if you peel it, these do sort of just fall apart. They're very liquidy. And there's my onion. So now I'm going to put this into a blender along with my pre-soaked chile árbol. Okay, so I have everything in my blender cup. I also roughly chopped the roasted onion. That'll make it easier to blend, but everything else is just whole. Now I'm going to add, here I have 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon powder and a half teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to add that. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of water. Now I'm going to blend this. So I tasted the salsa and it was spot on in my opinion. But at this point you will want to taste it if you want more salt, but I'm going to leave it in this blender cup, and I'm actually going to divide this into little containers because I'm making hot lunches for my aunt's work today. I am, lunches on me. I wanted to give them something home cooked for a lot of those healthcare heroes that had been on the front lines through this pandemic. And my aunt actually works for an emergency room. She's the night shift. So this is what I'm making them for dinner. Okay, so for my soft flour tortillas, I will link the recipe video in the description below, but I've already added all my flour. I've added, I actually added this organic shortening that I have, but you could add lard, oil to it. So I've already added my flour, shortening, salt, and baking powder. And I basically made 5 times the amount of my original recipe. And I will link that, like I said, in the description below. So once everything is mixed and you've added your lard or shortening, and it kind of looks like crumbly sand, you're going to add your hot water. And I might need more hot water here, but I'm gonna add part of it. Oops. I'm going to at least need 48 for the tacos. Anyways, I'm going to continue kneading this until it becomes a smooth dough ball. That will take some time because I'm working with a larger amount of dough. Okay. So I actually had to half the dough to be able to knead it a bit better, but this is what you're looking for. The dough ball is smooth, and when you press it, it springs back. So now I'm going to divide my dough, and I already divided half of it already. So for the most part, I'm definitely going to be able to get the amount that I need. So again, just check the description below for links to a couple of my flour tortilla videos. So I'm going to continue dividing the dough, and I'm going to place a damp cloth over these and let it rest probably around 30 minutes. Okay, so while my picadillo is cooking, I'm going to start rolling my tortillas out. The dough has rested for definitely 30 minutes, and I'm just going to lightly dust my rolling pin and roll these out. I always tell you guys in my other videos not to overuse flour during the rolling out process, because that will give you a drier tortilla when you're done cooking it. So I'm going to roll it out, and you want to roll it out fairly thin. And then after rolling out your tortilla, what I like to do is actually get a head start with maybe 3 to 5 and have them resting on the side of the bowl. There we go. Not perfectly round, but it'll do. So there we go. Now, just put it on the side of the bowl, just like that. I'm going to continue making these and letting them rest before I cook them. So here we're making the tortillas. And it's looking good. Just a reminder, you guys, check the description below for the ingredients for the picadillo, for the salsa, and the link to soft flour tortillas. This one's done. Oh, hot. And here are all my tortillas. Here's the picadillo. And typically I like to use refried beans in my picadillo tacos, but what I have learned working in the workforce, especially when we have like catered lunches or people just bring lunches or share lunches, a lot of people don't like refried beans in their tacos. So I'm just going to skip out on the beans and just load it up with picadillo. And the salsa will be, I think that'll be really good. So let's get started making these tacos. Okay, so here I have a sheet of aluminum foil. I'm going to add 2 fresh homemade tortillas, and then I'm going to add my picadillo, and what I'm going to do is sort of wrap it kind of like not really a full burrito, but I'm going to show you here. So it's going to be just like that, and then just roll it over. There we go. And if some of it comes out, here we go. It might work better. Just like that. There we go. And these are my 2 picadillo tacos, and I'll show you how I end up packing the lunch for all of these. Okay, so I'm going to show you what's going in these little lunches. I've got my 2 tacos going right in there. Salsa. By the way, I am working with clean hands. And I thought this would be a nice treat. A Korean coffee or a tea if they're tea drinkers. A lollipop for pick-me-up, a sweet dessert maybe to go with the coffee or tea. These are just chocolate coconut macaroons I purchased, and just some raisins, a snack of raisins. And here we go. I was supposed to get at least 15, but I really wanted to give them extra for any staff members that didn't have a lunch. So I have to head out. I have to drive into the city, but I just want to let you guys know that's what I did today. The picadillo definitely gave me at least 40 tacos. And it also depends, like the ratio of the picadillo to the tortilla. I kind of loaded them, with extra since I didn't really use beans. And I just think I'm excited. I haven't seen my aunt since this whole thing started. I know I won't be able to give her a hug, but you know, it'll be good to see some family from far away. So anyways, I'm going to head out and I will see you guys in the next video. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.